The river wasn't loud, but it had a voice, low and ancient, like it remembered names the desert had long since buried. Bo McCrae had heard that voice before, once in a different canyon, beside a different grave. But today, it came sharp and sudden, rising like a cry from a hollow chest. He reined in his horse by instinct, boots hitting dust before his hat even settled. Something was wrong. He moved through brush and slope with the practiced ease of a man who didn't waste steps. The sun sat low behind the red rock cliffs, casting fire across the canyon. And there, down in the water, caught between the arms of current and stone, was a flash of orange, unnatural in all this earth-brown land. A dress, fringed, clinging to a still body. He didn't think. The shirt came off, boots kicked free, and he dove. Cold closed around him like a hand to the throat. The river pulled and twisted, but he knew rivers, knew where they lied about depth and hid snags under shadows. His fingers brushed fabric, then flesh. She was stuck, her leg caught on a branch below the surface. Limp, he wrapped an arm around her waist and tore her free. Her head lolled against his chest, long black hair heavy with silt and feathers. No breath moved her chest. He surfaced with a gasp and pulled them both to the shallows. Kneeling, he laid her gently across his lap. Her skin was cool, her lips pale. He pressed his ear to her chest. A faint rhythm, distant but alive. He tilted her head and coaxed breath back into her lungs with his own. She coughed once, then again, water spilling from her mouth, eyes fluttering. She didn't speak, didn't see him, just slipped back into unconsciousness. Bo looked up and found he wasn't alone. Across the rocks on the far bank stood 5 men with bows drawn. One elder in front, tall and still, his gaze unwavering. Bo lifted his hand slowly. She was drowning, he said, voice rough from cold and silence. The elder stepped forward. Bring her. No more words. Bo carried her carefully, one arm under her back, the other beneath her knees. Her weight wasn't much, but every step felt like judgment. The men led him through a narrow path, past thornbush and fireweed, into a hollowed canyon where tents blended into the stone. Children paused their play. Women stared, silent. A world that didn't welcome outsiders. A world that watched. He laid her on a blanket inside one of the tents. The elder crouched beside her, touched her face, then turned to Bo. You are not one of us, he said. No, sir. But you saved what is mine. Bo didn't answer. She is my daughter, the elder added. And I am Atsa. Bo swallowed. Bo McCrae. Atsa studied him. His eyes were sharp, but not cruel. She breathes because of you. You may ask a reward. Bo's jaw worked, a habit when unsure. I didn't come for anything. The tent was quiet for a long moment. Then Atsa nodded. Then come back tomorrow. Bo hesitated. Why? Because I'll decide if a man who asks for nothing deserves something more. He left the tent, hat in hand, heart uneasy. Behind him, the woman he'd pulled from the river lay breathing in shallow rhythms. She hadn't looked at him, hadn't known him. But something inside Bo shifted, some old restlessness settling like dust after storm. That night, he camped under a low ridge outside the canyon. Built a small fire, let it crackle. He didn't sleep much. Didn't dream at all. The next morning, he returned. The girl was awake, sitting outside the tent, arms wrapped around her knees, still weak but watchful. Her eyes followed him as he approached. She didn't speak, but she didn't turn away either. Atsa stepped out behind her. She has no husband, he said simply. Not yet. Bo said nothing. You're an outsider, Atsa continued. But you came when she was alone. You held her like someone you already lost. That means something. The wind stirred through the canyon, carrying scents of sage and dust. I don't offer her like cattle, Atsa added. But if she chooses, and if you stay, you will be welcomed here. Bo looked at her. Her eyes met his, unreadable. Her hair was still damp at the ends. One feather clung to it, stubborn in the wind. I'm not good at staying, he murmured. Atsa said nothing. The girl said less. And yet, Bo stayed rooted, uncertain which way was forward anymore. Later, he saddled his horse and turned toward the pass. He didn't leave. He just rode halfway to the edge, where the river curved and the wind spoke again, where the world still held its breath, waiting to see what he would choose. Bo stayed. Not because he was asked, or because he owed anything. He stayed because of the way the canyon felt at night, how the wind didn't whistle but hummed low and thoughtful, like it was trying to remember a lullaby. He took to fixing things quietly: leather straps, wagon wheels, a cracked water trough. Never asked for coin. Never asked for thanks. He spoke little, and when he did, it was with care, as if words might bruise if thrown too hard. She walked with a limp at first. He noticed but never asked. The others still watched him, not with hostility now, but with caution, like a wild animal that hadn't bitten yet. Children were the first to soften. One brought him a carved rabbit. Another touched his boots and laughed. But the women, the men, they waited. She too waited. She spoke only when needed, never soft, never sharp. Her name was known, but he never said it aloud. It felt like trespassing. She carried herself with a quiet defiance, the kind that grows from surviving what others don't speak of. She cleaned hides by the river and gathered herbs near the dry ravine. One morning, he saw her drop her bundle and wince, pain flashing through her hip. He crossed the camp, but she waved him off. Still, he bent to pick up what she couldn't. She didn't thank him. But the next evening, she set a bowl near his fire, corn mash and venison. Didn't speak. Just placed it there and left. It was the first thing she'd offered him. He ate slowly. The gossip came from town. A trapper brought it back like a stink on his coat. Says the cowboy's gone red, he muttered in Apache tongue. Tied to feathers and fire now. It wasn't said to Bo, but he heard it. Heard the way the men shifted, not with agreement, but with the weight of decision. They were watching whether he'd shame or defend, whether pride would snap out like a blade. He didn't speak, didn't flinch. But that night, under the wide open sky, he sat alone longer than usual, staring into the fire like it might offer answers. She came then, unexpected, barefoot and quiet. She sat across from him, without a word. In her hands was a strip of carved bone strung with rawhide. A charm for protection. "For your horse," she said, voice low. He took it, nodded. They sat in silence. The fire popped once, sparks leaping toward stars they'd both named in different languages. She did not move closer, but her nearness no longer felt like distance. The next afternoon, trouble arrived. Dust rose before the riders came. 3 of them, strangers, lean and sunburnt, slouched low in their saddles like men looking for trouble. They passed the outer trees and didn't slow. One had a jug. Another laughed too loud. They spotted her by the river, kneeling to rinse a strip of cloth. She didn't see them at first. Bo did. He was hauling a feed sack by the corral when he heard the hooves pivot sharp. The laughter stopped. Then a shout, too rough to be friendly. He dropped the sack and ran. The strangers had dismounted. One reached for her wrist. She jerked back. Bo came down the slope like fire in boots, shotgun in hand before breath could catch up. "Step back," he said, voice like the crack of dried wood. The men turned, eyes narrowing, hands near their belts. "This Apache land," one spat. "This her river," Bo said. One went for steel. Bo didn't wait. The blast rang out like thunder. A shoulder burst red. The man dropped, screaming. The others scattered, kicking up dust as they scrambled back on their horses and fled. The one on the ground moaned and bled into the dirt. Bo didn't kill him. Didn't need to. He lowered the shotgun, turned to her. She hadn't moved. Her eyes locked on his, wide, unreadable. Then she stepped toward him, slow, deliberate. She reached up and touched the side of his face, brushing away blood that wasn't his. He didn't move. Behind them, the canyon was still. The camp had gathered in silence. No one spoke. No judgment. Just watching. Later, Chief Atsa came to his fire. "You did not shame her," the chief said. "You did not shame us." Bo didn't answer. "You've earned a place," the chief added. "If you want it." Bo stared into the flames. She was across the fire now, adding wood. Not near, not far, but with him. And for once, the wind felt like it carried no questions. Some men ride to run, others to chase. Bo had ridden to forget. But now, in a canyon of stone and fire, he found something worth remembering. Not a promise, not a possession. Just a moment, fragile, warm, and fiercely alive. And he stayed.